You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 294 of V-Centrion's favorite podcast. I'm Jeremiah Morrell. Today I am joined by our returning podcast producer emeritus, yes, Christopher Stayton.
That is correct.
And my forever co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis. What are we doing today, sir?
Today's episode features Mr. Gunnar Landon. Gunnar is going to be putting on a music show here in Newcastle, Indiana called 765 Underground. We are going to be talking to Gunnar about all things the local music scene, I guess. We're going to be asking him about the artists that are going to be there, what kind of things you can expect, and also who the best barber in Newcastle is going to be at the very end of the show. So you want to make sure and stick around so you can hear that nugget.
And we'll throw some curveballs over there at Final Thoughts as well. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. My God, if you are a patron, you have learned more than you ever thought you would want to know tonight.
You're welcome.
And that's all the teas you get.
Yep.
But it is worth that tea and whatever other tea there is for any subscription price. If you join Patreon at any level, you get access to that tremendous episode.
Patreon.com/BossHog of Liberty is where you can go to find all of that bonus content. Every week we give you extra 20 minutes of show coverage with our guests. They sit in on it as well. We also give you show notes before the show ever starts. You get access to a Facebook group that is only for you guys. And occasionally through the year, we will send you some goodies as well. They start out at $5 a month, and they go all the way up to $50 or more a month. And those folks get a shout-out at the front of every episode. And those folks are Miss Christy Avery, Mr. Jonathan Phillips, and then, of course, Mr. Anthony Meyer. Once again, patreon.com/BossHog of Liberty, or you can go to bosshogofliberty.com and click the Support Now button.
And there is some merchandise available, Mr. Dakota.
Always, you can get your merchandise. We have T-shirts, really any kind of a T-shirt or sweatshirt. You just need to send an email to Dakota@bosshogofliberty.com or Jeremiah@bosshogofliberty.com. Or you can go to bosshogofliberty.com and you can send a voicemail and tell us everything you want, and we'll get it to your door after you pay us.
After you pay us. And Dakota figures out how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
Do we have a formal quote system yet?
Yeah, there's a whole sheet.
There's a whole thing. All right, we got a rate sheet. It's easy. Piece of cake.
Audrey has a jot form. You'll be sent a jot form to select your shirt type, your size, and then that'll calculate the payment.
Piece of cake.
Easy.
All right. With that, we've promoted ourselves enough. Let's talk about the 765 Underground thing. What's a 765, and does it happen in basements, Gunnar Landon?
So the 765 is our area code for Newcastle and surrounding areas. Henry County is our, more of our local setting, but it extends out to the Wayne County and everything. So that's why I chose to name the show 765 Underground, because I have multiple different artists coming in from throughout the 765 as a whole.
From the area.
Yeah, Wayne County and Henry County mainly. And then I did bring one artist in that I think is a very special performer. I brought him in from Indy to give the 765 a little taste of the 317.
So what you're doing is you are privately producing a music show.
Yes.
I don't want to say that this is the Blues Brothers all of a sudden, but one spectacular show can change the world. It's going to be happening in Newcastle.
Correct.
Your venue Sounds exclusive.
Yeah, so the venue is a friend of mine. I had decided that I thought it'd be cool to host a show here in Newcastle, and there's a lot of artists, myself included, that perform and make music here locally, and there's here in Newcastle there hasn't been much of a platform to perform, with people having to go out to Muncie and Indianapolis and places like that to get their name out there. And I thought that, having it here would be good, because it's a good opportunity for the local artists, but it's also a chance for people in the community to come and actually be able to hear some of their local artists live, because there's a lot of people that check out me and my friends' art, their music and everything, and a lot of people check them out locally, but when we have shows in Muncie and Indianapolis and stuff, they can't, come, whether it's just not having the time. Some of our fans and stuff don't drive, they're younger teenagers, whatever.
So you're developing a music scene in Newcastle.
Correct.
This first event, the first of many events, we'll say that this is the first of many in your concert promotion endeavors. Yeah. It's going to be on, this is a Saturday night, April 8th?
Yep. Saturday, April 8th. It's next Saturday.
Yep. All right. So 2 weeks from this Saturday. Well,
1 week
10 days from now,
Saturday.
essentially.
Yep. Yes.
All right. 10 days. Oh, we'll use a calendar that way.
Yeah.
2 Saturdays from now. A week from Saturday. We spoon-fed this to me. I will understand that.
Yeah, a week from this Saturday.
Easter Saturday.
That's right. Yep.
Yes.
Big show.
All right.
At 510 Cedar Drive in Newcastle, there's a $10 entry fee.
Correct. So the venue's actually, like I said, a friend of mine, she set me up with it. It's actually her parents' house. So her
parents know they're hosting a concert.
Yeah. So they actually their garage.
Conveniently, they will be out of town.
Right. So they actually turned their garage and their basement into a music venue, because there was nowhere in Newcastle that was like a live music venue. So they put a stage in their basement. It's like you walk into the garage, to the right is the basement. You go down in the basement. There's speakers. They have a whole setup down there, mics, stage, mixing board, everything you need. And then actually in the garage, so the basement it's got a decent size, but in the garage they actually cut a hole out in the wall to open these doors up so that you can see right on stage, so that even if you're standing in the garage, you can still be
you're in the club.
Exactly. You can still kind of be in there to offer more space, more seating and stuff like that. And so yeah, they started that, and they've hosted quite a few shows. It's called the Riot Room. So you can look it up, and they have a Facebook page and everything. They've hosted multiple shows. I don't know how many they've held in 2023, but I know that they've held multiple shows within the last few years and everything since they've done that.
All right. So tell us what kind of music, so what's your passion? What makes you say you want to get into this? What are we selling tickets to? So if people want to go, I guess the thing I'm asking, Dakota, is what the hell are kids listening to these days?
Yeah. Primarily it's hip hop, and then me and a couple of the other artists, we do a little bit more of an R&B style. So hip hop and R&B show, really, the two go together pretty well. You could say some of it's rap, yeah, but there's
how
a variety.
R&B is it? Is it like R. Kelly R&B?
So my R&B that I do, I say that I am an R&B artist with a twist. So I kind of take the R&B and put a little bit of my own taste on it. It's more probably like an alternative R&B, R&B kind of mixed with hip hop. So it's not full on hip hop. It's not full on R&B. It's kind of a nice marriage of the two that I've started doing.
Gotcha.
So is this all voice? Obviously, you guys are singing, but do you have bands that come with you, or is it all tracks that are already established?
Tracks. We're just vocalists. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Singer-songwriters. So now, the tracks in the back and stuff will have guitars and everything else playing. But yeah, there is no live instruments for us.
Makes it easy. You could do it. Yep. You could do it at a place like the Riot Room.
That's right. Now they actually hold full bands and everything, but for us, it was better because without the full instruments and everything, we're able to have set times that are, less time because it doesn't take, 20 minutes to set up and everything. It's just boom, boom, boom. Next guy can be on the stage 30 seconds after the last guy. So, there's, more room for multiple artists to be able to perform.
Gotcha. So you said hip hop and R&B. I know there's a slight distinction between hip hop and rap. Mm-hmm. Is there anyone who's like strictly a rap artist that's going to be there?
So I would say Lil Sid. He's a performer that'll be there. He probably leans more towards the rap. Rapper is kind of just a label that has been thrown on any local artist that makes music. Has been deemed a rapper. I know people call me a rapper. I would not consider myself a rapper, but he is actually like does more of a faster style, like leaning towards like some Eminem type stuff and everything. Which he does a variety, but I'd say that him specifically is probably the closest thing to like rap that we'll have at the show.
So,
okay.
Do you guys do any covers, or is it entirely original? Everything you're going to hear is all original music.
At this show, yeah, everything will be original. We do have, there's some of the guys that do covers and everything. I'm not sure if any of us that are performing have released covers, but I know some people have recorded them just for fun, and then I know some other local artists that aren't necessarily there on this night performing, but they have made covers, and a lot of us have talked about it and stuff too, but just haven't released them.
It is kind of interesting once like in the overarching hip hop scene with rap and R&B, it's very different from other music genres. Like in rock and roll, in metal, in country, Western music, the covers are a big deal. Like you start out, you're exclusively doing covers at bars and stuff.
You're a country artist. You go play everybody else's music as a cover for and then you might at the end of your night sneak in one or two original songs.
Yeah. And
please bear with me while I play this for you.
Right. Yeah. And in hip hop, in the hip hop world, it's totally the opposite.
Right.
It's that no one's really doing covers of other people's song, and I think it has to do with like what we touched on a second ago, with how a lot of it is basically you're going off of tracks, whereas if you are making the music, you're performing music, you can kind of put more of your own self into that song. Where like if you're covering a hip hop song, or if you are covering a Tech Nine song, then you are just going to be.
You're just playing karaoke.
You're just using your voice. Yeah,
right.
You're just doing karaoke at that point.
When you're playing an instrument, you can put, like you said, put your own flavor on it. Kind of change up, the tune, speed, and things like that. But yeah, with a track, you can't change up the beat and the instrumental that's being played. So if you try to, change, obviously it'll be a different voice. But if you try to change the tune and the speed of the song, it'll completely throw it off. So covers, aren't super big. Remixes are a thing, and that's really more like where if it's a cover, it's not like a full-on cover.
You're sampling something.
Right. Remix, correct. So like people will use like the same hook kind of a thing, and but then they'll add in like a verse or a couple verses or something of their own, and put their own flavor on it.
Now, there is a guy that I have seen on Instagram recently who's kind of blown up a little bit because of some local radio show he was on, and he's taking like these, I don't want to really say hip hop, but more pop songs, although he did do a Shaggy song, but he's covering them
in somebody else's voice.
Yeah, you've seen him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's covering them like he did.
He'd do like Hank Williams Sr. doing "Wasn't Me" by Shaggy.
Yeah. He did that exact one. He did "Wrecking Ball," Miley Cyrus, but sung in the style of Johnny Cash.
Okay,
So, that's really interesting. It's really different, but I mean, like That's about as close to a cover of a hip hop song that you're going to get.
Right.
You know? It's going to be totally different.
I haven't I'm familiar with what Dakota's talking about. I'm not bought in as like, oh, this guy's great. I haven't made my mind up about that one yet.
Yeah, it's very odd, isn't it?
I'll be scrolling and see it, and I'll go, I get it, but there was one. I will say I actually sent one to Mason. Mason Rottinghouse is our music, our expert musician here.
The Johnny Cash Wrecking Ball cover, which is a weird thing to say. I listened to it, and the first time I listened to it, I was like, that was weird. I don't think I really I just kind of felt weird listening to it.
That does sound a little.
And then like my wife and I have a nightly tradition where we lay down in bed at the end of the night and we each show each other the funny videos that we stumbled across throughout the day, and that was one of them. So I was showing it to her the other night, and then the second time I listened to it, I was like, if I take my mind out of it being a Miley Cyrus song sung in the style of Johnny Cash, and I just think of it as a different song entirely, I'm like, oh, I like it. You know, this sounds okay.
Gunnar, you probably don't have the knowledge of country music from the 80s and 90s that some others in this room may. But there was the one that I had found that guy had done was Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus, as covered by John Anderson.
Yeah. I saw that one.
Which, if you know John Anderson, he did Black Sheep and he did Seminole Wind and Swingin'. Swingin'.
Just a swingin'.
Yeah. It's very recognizable voice. Hearing that drawl do Party in the USA was ridiculous.
Yeah, he's done George Jones, John Anderson, Hank Sr., Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. But the weird thing about him is he does all these different voices really well.
Yeah.
It's very odd.
So he's like a guy that you would go see in if you're in Pigeon Forge or something, you'd see
yes,
the voice
exactly.
impressionist.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, I haven't figured out where this guy's going to make his living yet.
Yeah, that's odd.
So tell us about the model with you, Gunnar. You guys, you write this music yourselves, and then you go record it in a professional studio, or you record your tracking.
Right.
But that's the process. So you're always thinking about what it's going to be. You get a beat from somebody, you figure out what your lyrics are, and then you get it all put together, and you do a recording, and that's how you release it.
Yep.
I assume through Spotify or some other distribution method.
So, most of the time, some people they do all of it themselves. So some people they'll make their own beats, write their own lyrics, record it themselves, engineer it, mix and master it, and then they'll release it. But a lot of people will find beat makers and they'll purchase the beat, whether it's a license for the beat. So most beat makers now.
Does Dre for any beats at all?
Who?
Dre.
Not anymore.
I don't know, but I assume they would be out of my budget. So I know. So there's an app now that most beat makers put their stuff on. It's BeatStars. So they'll put it on YouTube and stuff, and then that's where you can purchase it, is on BeatStars. So you can purchase a license. A lot of times they have multiple different licenses. So you have a more basic starter license, which is a set amount of streams. A lot of times it's like 50,000 to 100,000 streams. You can make one music video. You can perform it live, things like that. And then you can buy one that's a little bit more. It's got, more streams. So say 200,000 streams. You can make unlimited music videos, whatever. And then you can buy like unlimited licenses where basically you can use it for anything you want. And then you can buy a beat outright, so exclusively, which then means that
it's out of the system for anybody.
You own it.
Correct. So then if somebody else uses it, so if you use a beat and put it on a streaming service and then you make money off of it without buying a license, then that beat maker can then hit you up and say, hey, you didn't buy a license.
Does that happen automatically, or do you have to go crack skulls?
I'm not sure 100% because I don't make beats personally, but I assume a lot of, so like if you put it on YouTube and that beat's already on YouTube, the producer well, then they can get like a copyright notice,
Right.
and that it's been used, and then they can be like, hey, you're making money off of this, I want my cut, basically. And if you buy it exclusively, then instead of that beat maker being able to make money off of it from somebody using it, then it would be you. So say I buy a beat off of a beat maker, and then somebody releases a song with that beat.
Now you have the rights to it.
I have the rights, to text him and be like, hey, you got to pay me.
This is that Jesse Riddle passive income.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a pretty important step of the process of making sure that you have the correct licenses and everything else to release songs.
How do you get big in this world, right? I'm sure there are people locally that have done well. There are people that are, that have in this niche have blown up. Mm-hmm. Is that based on digital streams? What's the metric that people say, okay, this guy matters?
Yeah,
or this guy or gal?
Yeah, streams really, streams, views, everything like that. But it's also one of those things that there's no quick way to do it. You know what I mean? Unless you're Justin Bieber and you get lucky and become an overnight sensation, and a song blows up and all of a sudden, you wake up the next morning and you've got millions and millions of views and listens to it and everything. People, there's robot accounts and everything that I get messages. 10 times a week or more. It's all the time. These accounts on Instagram and Facebook texting me, want me to pay them to promote me. And then what they do is they'll go on and they'll give you views. But what they do is they create robot accounts on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these different places. And then they set them up to go look at you. And then so you get those views. But the problem is those accounts are always getting reported and taken down. So you might pay somebody $50 to get 10,000 views, and then you get 10,000 views, and then you look back at it, 6 months later, and you're down to 5,000 because
they've all been invalidated.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So
they're just trying to use that to prime the pump so that it gets in the algorithm, and then you get some natural views on the back end of it, right?
Right. But it's one of those things that I've seen. It's it can be a detriment because you'll see people and they'll have 20,000 views, and then you look back 6 months later and they've got 8,000, and then people are like,
tilt your mic up just a little bit. I think it's going to make a huge difference. There you go.
I got they're saying, oh, you're buying fake views and all that, and then
you also see they have 20,000 views and 20,000 likes, but they'll have 3 comments.
Yep. Or there's also the if you don't buy likes, if you just buy views, then you get 20,000 views and you've got 1,000 likes, and that's a big thing too. So record labels and anybody that's interested.
So is this coming out in Instagram, TikTok? Where are you? What's the distribution?
So for me, like me personally, I put my songs into a distribution service. So there's all these different distribution services. I use one called DistroKid. There's DistroKid, United Masters, TuneCore, all these different ones, and basically you pay them a flat rate, and then so it's a distribution service so you pay them $35, $40 a year, and you can release as many songs as you want to, and they have different licenses as well in different categories. So they start out at a basic one that's just you can release as many songs as you want, but then you get the more money you pay, the more features you get. So, like, I paid a little extra so that I could be able to set up the date that I want my song to release. So I can put it into my distribution service, and I can set it to release at 12 p.m. on April 1st. 12 p.m. April 1st. It's everywhere. So otherwise, if you put it in and you load it in the day before you want to release it, it won't actually hit those streaming services a lot of times until a week later. And so that's a big thing is, it being where you say it's going to be at the correct time. But those distribution services, it basically just makes it a lot easier because they.
So that's the back end that gets it online for you.
Correct.
But if you're a consumer and you say, "Hey, I want to see find Gunner's stuff," Spotify, where are they gonna go to grab it?
Spotify is probably the main one, but my music is, it's on pretty much every site. So if you look up all the major ones, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, any of those, you can find me. And then it also helps because you could just go to Google and look up my name, and then
it all comes right up.
Yeah, it all pops up, and Spotify, Apple Music, they're all listed. There's ones that are, I've never even heard of before that my music's on there now.
Is Bandcamp still a big thing?
No, not that I know of.
Really?
I don't even know what that is, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. So when I was in high school,
Dakota has aged instantly.
When I was in high school, everyone was uploading their music to Bandcamp.
So,
do you remember that?
No, when I was in high school, everybody was downloading their music
Napster.
from LimeWire.
That was like middle school for me. So, yeah.
So when I was in high school, the big one was SoundCloud.
I was going to say the
SoundCloud.
pejorative is the SoundCloud rapper.
Yeah, that's the that's the label that gets thrown around a lot, SoundCloud rapper, because
By old millennials.
right. Yeah. Well, the thing is with SoundCloud, anybody can be on there. All you have to do is go onto SoundCloud. You don't have to pay any money or anything. You press upload, your song's on SoundCloud. Whereas to get on Spotify and all those other things, if you don't pay a distribution service like DistroKid or TuneCore, then you have to go through, all these different passageways and all these different channels to be able to get your music on there. And it takes way more time. So really those distribution services are like a convenience. It's like a convenience fee of them doing it for you.
So how agonizing is it to say, okay, I've got this ready to release? Mm-hmm. So you got, when you put a track out, I assume you're spending a lot of time with it,
right,
to put it out. What's that look like for you?
So really, it's not as big of a deal because I've released some songs now. But the first time I released a song, I actually only released it on YouTube and SoundCloud because I hadn't gotten a distribution service and everything like that. But the second time, it was definitely a challenge because it was like, being able to show people, and then you have people texting you, hey, where's your music at? And then you have to try to find out, hey, well, which one do you listen to? Which platform do you use? And then send them a link. Whereas now I use Linktree, so I can just send them like a Linktree, and then I can put all the different platforms my songs are on into Linktree. I can send them a link to my Linktree, and then they click on that.
And they've got it all.
Yeah, they can just find which one it's on and find it. And the distribution service, it sounds like I'm promoting it, but it makes it so much easier because
That's the same thing we use for the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all happens on the back end, and magically it's on. Half an hour after we put it on the website, it's in Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere else.
Right. Yep. And that's
everywhere podcasts are sold.
Right. And that, it's, podcasts and music are very similar with that.
So go real quick here. Go through all of the artists that are going to be with you on April 8th at the Riot Room.
Okay. So Triple T is a guy that I've met through performing. I met him in Muncie. He's the guy from Indianapolis. He's a really good performer. He's actually opened up for some bigger artists and stuff out of Indianapolis, and he's got a really good personality. His songs are really catchy, a good vibe and everything, and so that's why I wanted him to open up, because I know that with his personality and everything, he's just going to come in ready to go. He's going to start the show out with a bang. He's going to get people ready, into the show and interested right off the bat. Whereas sometimes, which I think anybody performing would do a really good job opening up. But I know I've opened up before, and it can be kind of nerve wracking, being the first artist. And so sometimes, you get nervous and you might not perform as loose and as well as you would, say you're one of the later performances. But I know that, he's so comfortable performing and that he's just going to come in and open it up with a bang and be ready to go. Caleb with a K. He's from Hagerstown, so he's a buddy of mine named Caleb Slagle. He's been making music for a while. He self-engineers, so he mixes and masters his own music. I've made some songs with him. We've never released a song together, but we've recorded some stuff together and got some plans for songs in the future together and everything. But I've heard him perform, and he performed in Muncie quite a bit at Be Here Now. Again, just a really good performer. Songs are good. Another great guy. I tried to put guys on the lineup that I thought, not only would perform well, but then, when people try to come up and talk to them, they'll, talk to people and be more
personable and outgoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to them about music. Like if, people come up to me sometimes and ask me, how can I get into music? Like I've seen you do it. How can I get into it? And if guys want to ask these guys, I want them to say, if it's something I'm promoting and everything, I want these guys to, be respectful, to talk to people and help them out and not just be like, oh, I think I'm better than you. So I've tried to get everybody on here that I think are really good guys along with good performers. And I know Caleb he's gonna kill his performance because I've seen him perform. He does a great job. I've personally never seen somebody perform live that's like a local artist that can get people engaged like he can. People will come in and they might not even know a song he's doing, but by the end of his song, everybody in the crowd's screaming it.
They're all in. Tell me about Lil Sid.
Lil Sid he's a guy that's actually here in Newcastle. And Lil Sid's been making music he's my age. So I know we graduated high school the same year, and I think he's been making music since he was like 5 years old, man. His dad did it. And, so he started writing music and releasing videos on YouTube of him rapping as a little kid, rapping at talent shows and everything. And so lyrically, he's really good. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody be able to make music like as much as he does. That guy, he has so many songs. He's told us how many songs he has unreleased, just sitting ready. At any given point, he could show you, 20 songs that you've never heard before, and then just keep going and going. But he makes his own beats. He a lot of times mixes and masters his stuff. He records some other people. Super cool guy, very down to earth, and like I said, he's probably the one guy that I would say is like a rapper, and he's very talented.
And so everybody has a name that's not their own. Do you perform as Gunnar Landon?
I do personally, yeah. So
the rapper name generator didn't work for you,
right? Well,
seems like Gunnar would give you some good leads.
I thought I like my name. I like Gunnar Landon. You know,
I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
You don't need a name like For to Clout,
right? It's a little bit more unique, I thought, and personally, I was like, when I started making music, it wasn't like a thing I've thought about for years. I thought about.
Plus, you're an R&B singer.
Right,
you're not hip hop.
That's what I kind of thought was like. If you look at singers in the R&B genre, Chris Brown,
Aretha Franklin,
Bryson Tiller, Michael Jackson. Anybody that is
R. Kelly.
Whoa, now
we'll steer away from him. Right.
Kids are allowed, but it's there's a cover charge.
Are we even allowed to say his name anymore? Are we gonna get?
Not.
I try not to be. I try not to compare myself to Chris Brown and R. Kelly very much, just because.
Tell me more about Seymour.
Seymour. So Seymour.
Butts. Sorry.
Seymour Butts. Had to.
Simpson joke, man.
Seymour is Carter Morgan, another guy here in Newcastle. He's actually my best friend, and he's the one that got me going into music. So I never even really given much thought to, writing songs and making music. And he did, and he's been doing it for years. And one day I asked him to come to church with me, and I sang at my church and stuff at the time. And he heard me sing, and he was like, "Dude, you can sing. Like, you should make music." And I just kind of laughed at him. I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "No, I don't have I don't write. That's not really my thing." And he was like, "Well, you should get on a song with me sometime." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, if you want somebody to sing, because he can sing and stuff. He just doesn't do it very often. It's not really his forte. And
well, what's he going to be doing here? Singing
hip hop. Yeah,
right.
He's he does a lot of really deep lyrics, and it's like he's probably, I would say he's kind of somewhere in between hip hop and rap. So he's not like super fast rap, but he's also not, like as singy, songwriting kind of. I guess you could say he's a rapper and get away with it. And he actually, comparatively, an artist I would compare him to is NF, and I guess most people do consider NF a rapper. So he's got kind of that same emotional style. All of his songs tell a story. He's probably a little bit slower than NF, just his personal style. He's pretty unique. But yeah, he's the one that got me into music. He told me, he was like, "Man, just try it out, see if you like it." I recorded for the first time with him, and I've got multiple songs with him, and he's helped me grow a lot. Working, with songwriting, I would send him songs and be like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And we just being friends, hanging out all the time. We'd sit down and work on songs together, and how does this sound? How's this sound? And give each other feedback and all of that. And yeah, he's a really good artist. He's actually, more recently, he switched kind of into the Christian rap. He did just kind of regular, before, and then he said that he felt like, for him personally, that the Christian rap was the way he wanted to go. And so now that's more what he's doing. And I've heard some of the songs that he's made recently, and they're really good, really unique, tell a story. He's the kind of guy that if you sit down and listen to his lyrics, it'll actually make you think, and I think that's really cool with music, because a lot of it's just, catchy, you don't really have to think about it much, but I like, music that you do think, and there's a story behind it, and all of his songs tell a story. So
that's awesome. All right. So if people want tickets, are they reaching out to you? They come into the door? Is it a pre-sale? There are a certain number of seats available. How's this going to go?
No, I think we're just going to do at the door sales. Just kind of make it easier. Most people, a lot of shows will do a pre-sale, and it's like a discount. But I thought, for this one, we'll just kind of start the price low. I'm not trying to get rich off shows. I'm just trying to, have a good time, everybody get involved. And so with $10, it's just anytime you want it. People, if they text me and are like, "Hey, can I get a ticket to your show?" I'll just be like, "Hey, just bring $10, to the door, get in, everybody have a good time." And then, we'll have ID checks at the door.
$10 is going to pay that security guy.
Yeah. So, gotta pay the people that are coming in if you offer to pay them. So, but yeah, we'll have security and make sure that. So we're not selling like alcohol. I didn't go through and get a vendor's license. I'm not of age myself, so wouldn't really work out too well. But it's just like, if you're 21, you can come in and bring your own if you want to. It's the venue. It's what they said. They will do ID checks, and then it'll just be like if you go to a club or something and you're under 21, you'll get an X on your hand, just so we can kind of monitor that and everything, liability reasons and everything like that.
Well, very good. So when you're not a musician in the evenings, by day, you're one of the premier barbers in this town.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Do you have a ranking? Do you have like special secret barber clubs where you decide you elect head barber for the town, and you get together and have like a a barber co-op to determine Barber Olympics, where you see who's the best?
No, I mean there hasn't been, but that's a good idea.
You're at MVP.
That's correct. Yep.
MVP has a deep history with this program, with Clay Morgan being one of the original hosts.
Yep.
Seymour Senior.
All right. Yep.
Seymour Grays. So this is all just for Dakota's benefit. Would you say that I go into MVP and I tell Clay that I'd like an adequate haircut, and I feel like that's what I get.
Right. Ouch.
But the problem is that I can't with you. There's no like bookwithgunner.com.
Right.
It's just you just go in and it's like a lottery ticket if I get to have Gunner or not. And I like a sure bet.
Right.
But you had them lined up. I got there at like 11:30 this morning.
Yeah.
At my lunch hour.
Yeah.
And there were 3 people waiting on you to come strolling in at 12:40 or 11:40, whatever time second shift starts. So tell me, how does this barbering work?
So for me, I was when I started out cutting hair, I worked at a different shop, worked there for a few months, became friends with Seymour. Seymour Senior hit me up and was like, "Hey, I need somebody to do walk-ins. You know, if you want a job, I got a spot for you." And he already kind of had the appointment thing on lock. And you know, not that he said I couldn't do appointments, because I could, but I just felt like for me, you know, I was starting out. I mean, Clay's been cutting hair for, you know, over 20 years, and I've been doing it I've been cutting hair for 4 years, but I've been working in a shop for coming up on 2 years now. So I needed, you know, to build clientele and get my name out there. And so I just decided to do walk-ins, and that way for our shop, we have both, you know, we offer both. So appointments are with him, and then I do the walk-ins. I don't have like a book with Gunnar, just because I have a lot of my clients that, you know, just know, hey, I'll just walk in. Most of my clients are cool if, you know, they got to wait for a few minutes. But a lot of what I do is just like, you know, people will text me right before they come in. Hey, are you busy or not? I'll tell them, you know, hey, come in, I'll get you right now. If I'm busy, I'll be like, hey, I got a little bit of a wait, you know, come back, whatever. Or if you want to come in and wait. So for me, that's worked pretty well. I'm not against appointments or anything like that. I do some appointments and everything, but just preferably, and with the way that my clients have reacted, I think the walk-ins work best for me. But the barbering in this town, I think the Barber Olympics is definitely something we should get going.
So
who would be invited is my question.
Man.
All the licensed barbers.
All of them?
I mean, you have to.
Who's going to judge?
Clay's a cosmetologist. He's not a barber.
Clay couldn't be in the Barber Olympics.
Yeah, he'd have to just host it.
Hey, I mean, Clay did win 2022 Best Barber in Town, so.
Well, that's just because he
technicalities.
A barber shop, and everybody just thinks he's a barber.
So
it's just assumed.
Is
that a stolen valor situation?
I think it is. If I were you, I would be offended that he is calling himself a barber when he's a cosmetologist.
Well, so.
Or are you a cosmetologist? Answer the question, sir.
That got just a genuine giggle.
So I can't say much, because when I first started out, I was just a cosmetologist, but within the year and 8 months or whatever that I've been doing it, I've actually acquired both licenses. So I actually have a cosmetology and a barber license.
Oh, look at him just showing up.
You can touch all the hairs. All right.
Yep. I can wax, I can shave, I can do it all.
I don't feel like that particular barber shop's got a lot of waxing requests.
I've never.
Whoa! I am in need for a haircut. I will come down there. Yes, I would like a wax, please.
I got my whole back waxed.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Was that painful?
Yeah.
Just lay down on the floor here between the chairs. We're going to pour the wax on.
I couldn't imagine doing it to the front.
So
I'll say that.
We've had people work there in the past, that have offered waxing, and like I said, I have the ability to do it, and I actually have the product. I have wax. I have everything I need to
Chris
to provide waxing.
But you're talking more like eyebrows, nose, ears.
Yeah.
He'll wax anything for $1.
For $1. I don't know what $1. If you walk in tomorrow and ask me what $1 will get you, I'll tell you I'll wax one eyebrow. One eyebrow, just one, just one.
I have a full-time job. I cannot wax one eyebrow. I would need both.
He's gonna have to spend $2 on that.
Right. That would be just a limited.
That's it. Friday only. $2 eyebrow wax for the pair from Gunnar.
go.
Tell him Boss Hog sent you.
That's right. Yep. And without telling me Boss Hog, I'll have to charge the full $5.
All right. Good Lord. What's the conversation like in there? Because you're
Oh man.
What kind of things do you learn about this town? 2 years in the barber chair. You've got to have been educated on every. Because Clay's clientele is not your clientele.
Correct.
You get the 50 and up crowd a lot with Clay.
Yeah.
Old Republican men.
Right. And Clay being involved in politics and, specifically the Republican politics in Henry County.
Are there some names you hear a lot?
Oh, absolutely, man. Just about any Republican candidate.
If there was like a drinking game name that Clay says that you would have to take a shot every time you heard it, which one would kill you?
Oh, boy.
Todd?
I'm thinking, so are we talking like people who are currently in office or just ever?
Who he talks about all the time. Because there were a couple you mentioned today.
Locally?
Yeah, in the state.
In the state. Okay. So lately, now when I first started working there, it was probably John Sproles. I mean, it was like the Republican Democrat sheriff race was full fledged. I mean, I was hearing.
Found yourself being an expert.
Absolutely, man. I think I knew, I could tell you what kind of gum John Sproles and Landon Dean shoot. You know what I mean? I knew the ins and outs of them. I had never had a personal conversation with either one, but I felt like I could sit.
You heard it all day, every day.
I felt like I could.
There wasn't a rumor you hadn't heard.
Right. I could sit down at family dinner and tell them more about themselves than they knew because, you hear everything, true, false, everything. And lately, I'd probably say probably Greg York. Clay's running for mayor. It's got to be his opponent.
Greg.
Yeah, you hear everything, man. Majority of people come in and are more probably voters for Clay. Just as they're his clients, they're supporters usually. But you've got the occasional person who comes in and sits down and tells Clay, "I'm not voting for you because I'm voting for Greg." And it's kind of like, okay,
you messed my haircut up in September of 2022.
Well,
and I'm still salty.
And I just wanted to stop by and tell you that.
Right. We've actually
give you my money.
We've actually had people come in specifically just to tell him that they can't vote for him. Like they're not getting their haircut or anything.
They're like, I'm on my way to Platinum Barber across the street, but I wanted to tell you I'm not voting for you.
Well, it's funny. We had a guy one time. He was a little bit older guy.
Shocking.
Clay cuts his hair, and he's probably 80 plus. So he came in and stopped by. And, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, he's just coming in for a haircut. And he comes in and he goes, "Clay, I need to talk to you." Clay was like, "All right, what's going on?" And guy says, "Well, I want you to know that I like you a lot, and I don't want you to be offended or anything, but I just wanted you to know."
But I went out of my way to drive down here.
Right. In case you heard out of the thousands of people in Newcastle, if you heard that I didn't vote for you, I didn't want you to be upset because somewhere in the line of marriage or something, this guy had some relation to Greg York. So he had to tell Clay, "Look, man, I like you and everything, but I just can't vote for you with family loyalty and everything." And so
6 months before the election,
6 months. No, man, this was before even.
Over 80, he's taking a chance that he's going to long enough to get to election day.
This is 8 months ago. As soon as Clay mentioned something about running for mayor, people are coming in asking him about it. So
small town politics, boys.
Oh, absolutely.
So I don't know if you realize it, but a hell of a lot of our county politicians are former barbers.
They are. There's a shocking amount. Yeah.
Yeah. When do you think you have to run for office as a barber? because you're going to have all this knowledge and you're just going to let it all go to waste.
Yeah.
I know you may be a Spotify artist, but
Right.
and in your spare time, you're going to cut hair for free, but you're going to have to come back and run for mayor.
You know what?
The town folk demand it.
There have been famous people get into politics. Arnold
Donald
Schwarzenegger,
Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura.
Clint Eastwood.
there's currently the WWE wrestler Kane.
Yeah.
He's a
mayor of Knoxville.
Libertarian mayor of Knox, Tennessee.
Yes, so I've actually got clients that come in and they lived in the county or whatever that Kane is mayor of, the city and everything. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I didn't know, but so
Glenn Jacobs, for those listening.
Glenn Jacobs. Yeah, that's his name. Couldn't remember.
Is that his real name?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just know him as Kane,
Mayor Kane.
the big guy that threw people around on TV when I was 5. So, but yeah, I'm not sure that politics are
Give it time.
a road I will go down. But yeah, I am only 19, so at the time,
If you're already talking to Jeremiah, just give it time.
Give it time.
You'll be forced
You
to run
spend
at some
too much
point.
time with Clay.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I tell him all the time. One day I'm going to take his seat, just messing with him. But who knows? None of us know what's going to happen tomorrow.
I feel like you ought to just get in the clerk treasurer's race just to razz Clay.
We were talking about that today, and like I told you, I don't think I am good at math enough
You run
to win.
You run
that.
your own business.
Yeah, but
Add, subtract, multiply, divide. That's
like
all you have to
right.
do.
But I just feel like
They make
handling-
calculators.
Yeah, they'll let you have a
Right.
calculator.
That's true, but handling an accounting, man, I feel like just the stress and everything is not something I want.
just one city.
It's just one city.
Just one
Yeah.
city.
I don't even live in the city.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
That's
mayor
never,
doesn't
that's
live in
never
the city.
stopped anybody.
It's never stopped.
There's an abandoned house somewhere around in this town.
1102 Race Street could be a voted from. All
I
right.
hear that address 14 times a week.
So let's talk about the project Dakota put in front of us 3 weeks ago, maybe it was 2 weeks ago.
Probably 3.
Wall sports. Dakota had us fill out NCAA brackets. The NCAA.
I didn't have to do anything. I just sent a picture of mine.
And you said be prepared to talk about it on the show. And then this is the first time we've actually been together since.
How you all's doing?
How many of your Final Four teams are left, Dakota? This is all I wanted to cover.
Yeah. I don't even want to talk about it.
If anybody in this room says that they had one of the teams in the Final Four in their bracket, I'm going to have to fact check you.
You don't think anybody had UConn?
No.
There is a guy in my work bracket that had San Diego State.
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's in the lead, obviously, and he's going to win the league because nobody else
is going to catch up. Yeah.
Nobody else has anybody left to play.
If you're winning your bracket now, you probably won.
I'm going to win all.
I don't think anybody that I had in the Final Four made it to the Elite Eight, personally.
Yeah, I think I'm about the same. I think
Yeah.
pretty close to it.
Yeah.
After Purdue and IU lost in the
Purdue
first weekend,
killed me.
Sarah threw it all away.
Yeah,
I was so upset.
So I am a diehard IU fan. Cannot stand Purdue. I had them winning because who picks a 16 seed to beat a number 1 seed? Especially, Purdue had been on fire all year. And so nobody's, the amount of people that picked them is very minuscule. But I was still happy.
I had Baylor, Purdue, UCLA, and Xavier. Of course, they're all done, gone, dead.
Xavier, really, that's kind of a shocking pick. But me myself, I had Providence going pretty far, and they lost first round. So,
And I'm trying to find Dakota's. I know I put it in the. I knew I put it in the Patreon, but I'm not finding it here now. So.
all I know is when I filled my bracket out, I told everybody I was taking the long shot. I took Purdue because I know they're Big Ten, and ain't no Big Ten team ever doing anything. They will never go anywhere.
Michigan State does fine.
so you
Once
had,
every 3 or 4 years, you can throw Michigan State in the Final Four. Every time.
That's true. And I had Kansas winning it all. Kansas is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, they're a blue blood.
to at least make the championship.
Kansas is a fine
They just
blue blood.
won.
I
They
loved
just won.
watching Edie play.
I hated watching
Purdue.
Edie play.
He was so fun.
Big mate.
So
He's
tall.
just ginormous.
Just a giant. People would just bounce off of him.
Dude was making more than $500,000 a year playing at Purdue University.
Actually,
It's insane.
I saw an article that kind of almost blamed one of Miami's players for Purdue not making it further because they said Purdue had inadequate guard play for the NCAA tournament, and and they said that if Purdue would have, they said that the NIL is to blame for Purdue because Purdue was a heavy favorite to land the point guard from Miami named Nigel Pack, who's from Indiana. Purdue was the heavy favorite, I think, and then he landed an NIL deal worth like $800,000 from some company in Miami, and
Probably the same one that's sponsoring the Cavender twins.
Probably. So he ended up there, and people were, very upset because they were banking. They were like, if Purdue gets him, we're winning the championship because that's all we need is some experienced guard play. So, yeah.
I think the important thing to know is that one head coach is still an Indiana guy,
Right.
Dusty May,
IU guy, not Purdue though.
From Florida Atlantic. He grew up in Greene County, Indiana. So I think that's who we all have to be Florida Atlantic fans from here on out.
Right. You got to root. Well, for another 2 weeks until he gets a high major coaching job.
His problem is that other than Penn State, there's really not jobs available. Dakota, your Final Four were Houston, Charleston.
I had Charleston being a big upset.
In the Final Four?
And Gonzaga. Yeah.
Yep.
I think I had Charleston winning first round, but Final Four is a risky one.
I usually pick one that is going to be like a big.
See,
he literally lost.
I always pick a big underdog.
He lost San Diego State in the first game. He had them as a 5-12 upset, and he took the 12 all the way to the Final Four.
Yep.
Brutal.
Crush right at the start.
I like to make multiple brackets because it gives me multiple chances.
That's a cheater.
It is a cheater. Now
I like to play both sides. That way I always come out on top.
I'll only put one into like the tournaments, like, your bracket tournaments, but just for the sake of fun, I like to make a couple just to have, because what is it? There's like $1 million prize on ESPN or something. If it can be perfect. So I'm like, if I make 150 different brackets, there's a better possibility. So I made 4 and, I had Kansas winning in my main one. That's the one that I was in like a bracket tournament with. I had IU winning in one just because I'm an IU fan. And then I picked Alabama to win in 2 of them. And, pretty deep into it. Alabama was
they were looking fair.
They were, and they were the, highest seed left and everything. And Brandon Miller was on fire. They looked like they had a chance and then they choked it. So.
A couple other things on the sports desk that we do need to cover. The fantasy.indycar.com picks. If you're in the wall/BHOL Fantasy IndyCar League. If you were in last year, you're still in this year. But you just have to go to fantasy.indycar.com and you can make your picks for Tejas that are back this weekend.
How am I doing in that league?
You have to make picks. So far, there's only one race that's not in. There's 16 races to go. So it's very early in the year. It just started. This is just the second event, and we haven't had one in a month. So now it's getting ready to get very busy. But y'all can jump on and make your picks real quick and log back in with your Gmail. Final sports item. The Carb Day concert was announced today. There are 2 big Indy 500 concerts. Today they announced that Bryan Adams is going to be the Carb Day artist. I want to poll the room and see if you guys know who the hell Bryan Adams is.
No.
Dakota has no idea. Gunnar, do you have any idea who Bryan Adams is?
Heard the name. That's it.
Yeah. Chrissy?
Bought my first real 6-string. Bought it at the 5 and dime.
The summer of '69.
Sure,
That's his song.
That's him.
I know the song, but I couldn't have told
So
you.
is he like a one-hit wonder?
No.
Everything I do, I do it for you.
Yeah. So 80s and 90s, essentially.
Oh, okay.
He's from-
That's how I've heard the name.
He's a Canuck.
He's from Canada.
He's a Canadian.
What was up with all the 90s soft rock, 80s, I guess early 90s soft rock bands from Canada?
Bare Naked Ladies.
That seems to be an Indiana trend to bring people in past their prime.
Well, there's multiple things
you quit
happening.
talking about the Colts like that.
There's multiple things happening. It's essentially a free concert. You buy a ticket for the day, you get to go see Bryan Adams for free, right? So if $40 gets you in, you watch race cars, you watch all kinds of stuff happen, and you can go in and you can watch, it's a standing room only, bring all the beer you want, big, massive concert. But they did 70s bands for a long time. So they would bring in the old rockers that you'd know. And now it's they've made this transition into the 80s and maybe a little bit of 90s stuff. And you go, I don't know who the hell this is. And then you go stand there and you watch the show and you're singing along. You know all of these songs.
But
You're
you just don't
familiar
know.
with them. You just don't know that you know them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the that's kind of the,
Makes
the,
sense.
the hookup.
Know the song, not the artist.
Yeah.
Hey, if I get to a place like that one day, that'll be all right.
There was a year where they had Blues Traveler and Bare Naked Ladies, and it was like that was my deal. Like I was in, completely sold on that one.
No, not going.
Well, now they do have the Country Day, but the Country Day has moved
To White River.
to White River State Park.
It's actually nice. I went last
from
year.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
I went to last year's.
Used to be free for me, and now I have to buy a
What kind of
ticket.
country do they play at country?
So this year, Brad Paisley is their headliner.
I'll probably,
I love Brad Paisley.
let's be honest, I'll probably go.
I love Brad
I
Paisley.
won't pay for it, but I'll go.
So Dakota seemed like there was a bit of disgust for you there. What's
I'm not a.
Are you not a country fan, or are you
Oh,
not a
he's
Brad
a-
Paisley?
Last year was
I
Luke
love-
Bryan, doesn't it?
I love
No.
country music. I like
I don't think
outlaw.
so.
Dierks
country
Bentley?
music. I
Maybe.
like old country music.
Some people argue with you that Luke Bryan's not country music.
He's country. He's just not Dakota and I's country.
Well, okay.
I don't.
I
not
fall
like,
off.
I'm surprised that you like Brad Paisley.
I do like Brad Paisley.
Jeremiah
He is
falls off
pretty
at
much
90s.
the end of the line. Yeah, 90s I'm good with. And there are like 5 or 6 more current country artists that I like. I do like Luke Combs. I like Cody Johnson. I like Brad Paisley. I will go to see those guys.
Okay, so like
Think if it was-
Morgan Wallen, guys like that.
Morgan Wallen's fine, but he's not. I'm not packing a concert for Morgan Wallen.
Luke Combs. Luke
Yeah.
Combs is definitely
Combs
the
is
best
okay.
current.
Yeah,
I mean, he's like, I'm pretty sure he's the youngest to ever be inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. So,
sure. Yeah, I believe it.
I mean, you could.
He's on the
Combs
he's
is
in the Opry now.
I'll say this about Luke Combs. He's probably the only guy that they play on country music radio that I'll enjoy.
Yeah. I can. Wait, what about like Zach Brown Band? Not a fan?
You got your ass in the sand.
Dude, hey, I went to a Zach Brown Band concert, and I'm telling you, that was one right there.
See,
That-
the
I knew
concerts
Zach
can
Brown
change
Band,
your mind.
and I knew a lot of songs, but I didn't realize that those were his songs. You know what I mean?
Concerts can definitely change your mind.
It was a it was,
You
oh,
like
it was
you
a
could be like,
fantastic.
I don't really like them. Then you see them in concert. You're like, wow, yeah, they're great.
Yep.
Great
You,
performance.
you just got to go and you got to see a lot of people in concert, as many as you can.
Yeah, like
Last year it was
April
Guns N'
8th.
Roses, Paradise City, Night Ranger,
Who?
Sister.
April 8th at the 765 Underground.
Yeah. April 8th at 510 Cedar Drive, Newcastle, Indiana.
Right.
You got to go there. $10, man.
It's a deal.
It's a
$10.
steal.
It is. And Gunnar is going to give out autographs.
That's right. Free autographs from
Free.
all the artists.
Yep.
Trying to find your list here of the concerts that they've had back in the day. They had Styx, Florida Georgia Line.
Is this Carb Day?
These are past things at the track. Here we go. All right, yeah, your past Carb days. Foreigner and Cool in the Game.
Skrillex.
That was Skrillex was I believe a snake
Bangarang.
pit. Snake pit deal. They had Train.
Skrillex was so big when I was like,
Coming up.
I don't know, probably a sophomore in high school. No, maybe
Journey.
a senior.
Three Dog Night. Kid Rock. So, I mean, you've had some decent ones.
Journey.
You know, not always the old school stuff. 38 Special with Jane's Addiction. Yeah. Anyway, that's your Carb Day update.
So you've heard all these in concert?
No. I honestly, the way I've done the Speedway stuff has changed over the years. Now I actually go, but I don't know that I'll be inside for Carb Day. I will probably be back at my camper 1,000 feet away, listening to the bass of it all. Final thoughts, Christopher Stayton? Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
You've been missed.
Two things. We were talking about concerts, so I attend a lot of concerts over the summer.
You are caller number 9 at the radio station.
I am
in town.
either caller 9, 10, or caller 1, depending on what they're doing early in the morning. I win a lot of concert tickets.
Do they announce your name every time?
Sure do. At this point, I just go, hey, this is Chris Stayton. I'm in the system. And they go, all right, I got you. Same email address? Yes, please. And they just send it to me. I'm at 10 concerts for the year.
You've won 10 concerts so far this year.
Yes, and I've paid none.
When you win the Brad Paisley tickets, just email them to me.
I would, but I'll probably go. My wife will want to go. I'm trying to convince my wife to sell the Shania Twain tickets because the lawn is going for a ridiculous amount of money, and I'm like, I don't really care to see Shania that much. But she's like, well, we are going.
When is Shania playing? Another Canadian, by the way.
No, I think sometime in August or July. I don't know. I have a list. So, and then
You're going to attend almost all of these?
yeah, probably. We're working through some financial baby steps, and so we try to get cheap entertainment as much as we can.
I feel like you could sell those Shania Twain tickets to advance your cause then, bucko.
Hey, buddy, I'm trying. My wife's putting her foot down here. The second thing I will say, you do need to go to the Patreon and subscribe because you will find out how I became man enough to pull start a lawnmower. That's it.
Good plug.
I know.
Good plug.
Look, I may be rusty, but I got some tricks up my sleeve.
Did you make it over to your very good friend's grand opening this week? I thought for sure you'd do a congratulations to Hoosier Auto Group for opening up.
No. I figured I'm shocked that there's not a Potter wing, but one day there will be.
Yeah, Kevin Potter has paid for a good portion of that building with his updates and repairs over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hoosier Auto, congratulations to them. They've opened up their brand new car dealership, and there is a very nice, very gently used Honda Accord that's available for sale down there.
I feel like I know the past owner of that.
You do?
No.
Gunnar, you got anything for us? Final thoughts? Things to plug? Anything we forgot? Anything you have to defend?
No, and unless we do a Barber Olympics, I don't think. But
I think you need to organize the Barber Olympics.
Hey,
and rent a venue. Maybe you do it down at the Smith Building or Bundy Auditorium. Sell tickets.
Look, if Boss Hog will be a sponsor for it, I'll try.
We will be in to help sponsor and even MC.
Hey.
With enough notice, we will MC the Barber Olympics. And you can cut any hairs. We'll have Dakota start growing his hairs out now.
Okay.
And we will volunteer him for any procedure that they deem necessary.
Okay. All right.
Fade different sections.
I'm all in. I am all in on the Barber Olympics. I really am.
It's an idea.
Do you know how many barbers there are in town? Licensed?
I could do a quick breakdown.
He's using his fingers. He said he didn't want to run for clerk treasurer because he wasn't good at math, and here he is breaking out his fingers. If there's more than 10 barbers in town, we're going to lose a set of shoes.
We're upset.
I know there's at least 9.
All right, so you got to invite the top, what you deem to be the top 10 barbers in this town,
but there's
or
only 9.
cosmetologists.
Oh. Or cosmetologists.
Or cosmetologists.
Now, they have to work in a barbershop?
Yes. The Barbering Olympics.
Or
as presented by Boss Hog of Liberty.
Okay, cool.
You put this together. We'll put it on the calendar for the fall, maybe right after the election, so that some people have more time to pay attention, or while they're transitioning over from barbering to marrying. I think this is the path.
I think so.
I think we need to plan this out.
I think so.
The Barbering Olympics.
Oh my gosh!
Hey.
What do you get? We need 10 volunteers to get their hair
There
cut.
will be judging based on time, technique,
Blood drawn.
quality,
Who's the judge? If we've got all the
And-
barbers there,
and comfort.
That's true.
There's 4.
Well, so there's 9 barbers, but there is an insane amount of people who do hair.
Yeah.
So,
I think we've got some options. We could do. There's a lot of ways we could do this.
I just thought
we
of
could
the
bring in
10
some out of town barbers.
You bring in out of town barbers. I mean, there's a lot of cosmetologists that cut men's hair too. That at least know what to look for. They may not do it all the time, but they know what to look for. And even you could have Dakota, Jeremiah, and yourself. I mean, you guys could judge too. I think everybody can.
Zach
see a
Burcham
good
says this
haircut.
needs to be a Fourth Friday event
A Fourth Friday.
Ooh,
down
yeah,
in the plaza.
That would be good.
I bet
Right in the heart
I
of
bet
town.
Carrie would be down.
Yeah, we could. I bet we could organize this pretty easily.
For the Barber Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna see where this goes. Dakota, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Thanks for coming on, Gunnar. I'm excited to see how your event goes.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for the invite.
That's spectacular.
I have nothing.
My final item, I swear to God, boomers have got to have their Facebook keys taken away.
Probably.
Nobody is cutting off their catalytic converter. This one guy, the same post, the same picture of the same dude has been cutting off catalytic converters all winter in Spiceland and in Knightstown and in Newcastle and in Greenfield and in every other small town you've been to, and the poor bastard probably never even cut a catalytic converter in his life. Additionally, there are leaves in the pictures. Every time. Every time. This is my call to action. If you're of age to be listening to this show, then call your parents and tell them that nobody is stealing their catalytic converter. And if they did steal their catalytic converter, well, they have an insurance claim, and then go to Hoosier Auto and they'll put one back on. It'll be okay. But I swear to God, this guy looks... The funny thing is, it looks just like my cousin who lives down in Florida. And I'm like, well, Zach's obviously up here stealing catalytic converters again.
Oh, my God.
Every time. Are you noticing this?
Oh, yeah.
This is not just me seeing this.
No.
I've not gone crazy.
No, I noticed the exact same thing. And I also notice the fake profile that shares the house that my grandmother is going into a nursing home and we need somebody to live in her house for rent free and we need it to happen within the next week or so. And you just see everybody sharing this post. It's like, how stupid do you have to be to be like, oh, yeah, somebody's going to let you live in their house rent free?
First day on the internet. All right. We say thank you guys so very much. We say thank you to Chris Stayton for coming out of retirement to help us out this week. Contact Gunnar Landon. Go get your hairs cut and go enjoy the 765 Underground on April 8th. All right. We'll see you then.